Kohlrausch law. You can write down the definition. According to this law, at infinite dilution, when dissociation is complete, each ion makes a definite contribution towards equivalent conductance of the electrolyte, irrespective of the nature of the ion. With which it associates. Okay, so now according to this law, if we are taking lambda naught as the conductivity at infinite dilution, then according to this law, lambda naught, that is equal to the conductance due to the cation plus conductance due to the anion. Okay, so this is your conductivity of the anion and conductivity of the cations. Now when we are talking of you can say ionic conductance. The ionic conductance, it is directly proportional to mobility. Mobility of what? Mobility of ions. Okay? Ionic conductance is directly proportional to mobility of the ions, and mathematically we say that the conductivity for a cation, that is equal to K into UC, where UC is the mobility of the cation. Okay, and K is a constant. Similarly, for the anion it is going to be KUA, where UA is the mobility of the anions. Okay, so we say that conductivity, that is directly proportional to what? It is directly proportional to the mobility of cation and the mobility of the anion. When complete dissociation is taking place, okay, in that case we say that the degree of dissociation is calculated by lambda C upon lambda naught, where lambda C is the equivalent conductance at any concentration. And lambda naught is the equivalent conductance at infinite dilution. Infinite dilution. Okay. Now, if we have to calculate alpha over here, for this lambda C is calculated by the formula kappa into 1000 upon concentration. Right? So lambda C, that is calculated as kappa into 1000 upon C, whereas lambda naught is calculated by this formula. Okay, that is the conductivity of the cation plus the conductivity of the anion. So if you are getting how to calculate, you are getting any question in which you have to calculate alpha, that is the degree of dissociation, this is the formula which you have to use. Okay, lambda C you have to calculate that way, and lambda naught you have to calculate by this method. Have you understood? Okay. Then what is the relationship between equivalent and molar conductance? If we have to calculate the equivalent conductance regarding the values of equivalent conductances of the cation and the anion. In that case, how will we calculate? It is equal to lambda naught E, that will be equal to say 1 upon Z positive into lambda A plus 1 upon Z negative into lambda B negative. What is Z over here? That is the stoichiometry. That is the number of ions present. Right? Let's take an example. For example, if we are taking that of say MgCl2. Okay? So we are calculating for MgCl2. What is the valency of Mg over here? 2. Right? So the equivalent conductance that will be equal to 1 by 2 lambda of Mg2 positive plus 1 by 1 lambda of Cl negative. Right? Because the valency of chlorine is 1 and the valency of magnesium is 2. If we take another example, that is of AlCl3, over here also lambda E, that will be equal to what? 1 by 3 lambda of Al3 positive, okay, and plus 1 by 1 lambda of Cl negative. But if we need to calculate the molar conductance, so when we are doing the effect of dilution on equivalent conductance today, first let's see what all did we do in the last chapter or the last lecture. We did equivalent conductance, we did molar conductance. We said that equivalent conductance is directly proportional to kappa, which is the specific conductivity, and inversely proportional to concentration. Depending upon that, we come to the next topic today, effect of dilution on equivalent conductance. As equivalent conductance is inversely proportional to concentration, it should be directly proportional to dilution. Okay? So what is basically happening over here, when we dilute a solution, we are decreasing the concentration. As a result, on dilution, more ions are produced. Okay, so if more ions are produced, more ions they are going to carry current, isn't it? So we say that more ions will carry current, right? Therefore, on dilution, the equivalent conductance increases. On dilution, equivalent conductance increases, right? So in other words, we can quote that on decrease in concentration or increase in dilution, the equivalent conductance that is going to increase. We had discussed this before also, that specific conductance that keeps on decreasing with increase in dilution, whereas conductance it will keep on increasing with increase in dilution, right? For that, let's draw a few curves over here for a few sols, like we are taking a graph, and over here we are taking lambda E and concentration. Okay, so when we are talking of a few strong electrolytes as KCl, the curve comes to like this. What is happening? That equivalent conductance that is decreasing with increase in concentration. Okay, in a similar manner we have barium chloride and we have sodium sulfate. We have sodium sulfate, right? And then we can draw a graph for nickel sulfate, and lastly for acetic acid. So acetic acid gives us a very different graph than the rest of the graphs which we have plotted. Okay. Now from the graph, what all can be seen? When we are talking of KCl over here, KCl has a very high value of what? Equivalent conductance even at zero concentration. That is, we are saying that KCl, it has high conductance at large dilution. There is no change in the graph, there is no abrupt change in the graph over here. We can see that there is slight decrease in concentration, and then for KCl, the constant, even if we are increasing the concentration, the conductivity, that is not altered much. Okay, so basically what we are saying over here is that KCl is a strong electrolyte. Okay, and because it dissociates completely into its respective ions, that is K positive and Cl negative. We have already studied that alpha for such, that is degree of dissociation for such electrolytes, that is going to be equal to 1. Okay, in case of KCl, this point where the concentration that is equal to 0, the conduction at this point, that is known as lambda naught. Or in certain books it is also written as lambda infinity. That is the conductance at infinite dilution or zero concentration. Okay, it is seen after a while that even when we keep on diluting the KCl solution, there is no change in the concentration. This value, when there is no change in conductance, even on making the, you can say, solution more and more dilute, then this value, that is known as the limiting conductance. So what is limiting conductance? Limiting conductance is the conductance or the same value of conductance which does not change even when we are diluting the solution more. Okay, so the conductance over here, it takes a constant value. Conduction over here, that is going to be constant even if you are diluting the solution more. But in case of CH3COOH, what you can see according to the graph, that the equivalent conductance is decreasing abruptly and then it becomes a little stable. But when we are extrapolating this graph, we can never reach the zero concentration value. Such electrolytes, they are said to be weak electrolytes. Okay, and we have already discussed that for weak electrolytes, the degree of dissociation lambda, that is always going to be less than 1. Clear? Okay, so we are saying that strong electrolytes are those which have large value of ions. Weak electrolytes are those which have small value of ions. Smaller ions will be produced when weak electrolytes, they are dissolved in a solution. Okay, then let's go on to the next very, very important topic, that is the Debye-Huckel Debye-Huckel equation for strong electrolytes. Debye-Huckel he proposed an equation for strong electrolytes. Only for strong electrolytes, where the equation that is equal to lambda m molar conductivity, that is equal to lambda m naught minus AC raised to power half. When we plot a graph between lambda m and under root of concentration, we can see that the molar conductance, it keeps on decreasing with increase in concentration. Okay, and this value where maximum molar conductivity is there, that is at zero concentration or at infinite dilution, so this is said to be lambda m naught. Clear? Now what does each of this signify over here? That lambda m, this is the molar conduction at any concentration. Lambda m naught is the molar conduction at infinite dilution. A over here is a constant. A is a constant which depends upon the type of electrolyte. Okay? Like for example, if we are talking of NaCl and KCl, both of these, they are 1:1 kind of electrolyte. Okay? Why? Because the valency of sodium over here is what? Positive, 1 positive. The valency of chlorine is also 1 positive. Potassium is also 1 positive and chlorine is 1 positive. So such electrolytes will have same value of A. Then when we are talking of MgCl2, this electrolyte that is known as 2:1 kind of electrolyte. Why? Because the valency of magnesium over here is 2 and that of chlorine is 1. So all those electrolytes which have the value or which are 2:1 kind of electrolytes, they will have the same value for A. And C over here, that is the under root of concentration. C raised to power half, that signifies under root of concentration. Okay? So this is the Debye-Hubbell-Onsager equation. Now when we are again talking of one more thing, that is the weak electrolytes. For weak electrolytes, there was a law which was given by Colruysch. Because from here, when we are looking at this graph, we can calculate the molar conductance by just plotting the graph for strong electrolytes. But this does not happen for weak electrolytes, because for this we cannot calculate the conductance at what? At infinite dilution. Even if you keep extrapolating this will never reach the zero value. Okay? So to explain the conduction or to give an appropriate measurement for conductance for weak electrolytes, Colruysch put forward a law. So let's see what is that law. If we need to calculate the molar conductance, the value of molar conductance, then the value of molar conductance at infinite dilution, that is going to be equal to what? Like we are calculating it for BaCl2. Then in that case it will be equal to lambda of Ba2 positive plus 2 into lambda of Cl negative. Right? So you know the difference now, how to calculate equivalent conductance. We are taking the reciprocal of the valency in equivalent conductance, but over here we are multiplying the equivalent conductance with number of ions. Right? Similarly, if we are calculating it for AlCl3, then it is going to be equal to lambda for Al3 positive plus 3 lambda Cl negative. Okay? So this is what the Colruysch law says. The next, if we are talking of weak electrolytes, there is a theory which is proposed for weak electrolytes. What is the theory? Theory of weak electrolytes. Number one, weak electrolytes are never completely ionized. Weak electrolytes are never completely ionized when they are dissolved in polar solvents like water. Okay, so because they are not completely ionized, there exists an equilibrium there exists an equilibrium between ionized and unionized particles. Because when we are saying it is not completely ionized, there should be certain you can say molecules which are ionized and certain which remain in the solution unionized. For weak electrolytes there is going to be an equilibrium, and the concept of equilibrium and equilibrium constant, concept of equilibrium and equilibrium constant holds true, okay, for weak electrolytes. Let's explain this. If we are taking one molecule AB which is getting dissociated into A positive plus B negative, right? Now at time t, let's say the concentration, at time t is equal to 0, the concentration of AB is taken as C, right? So at time 0, none of the ions would be present, so the concentration of this will be taken as 0. At equilibrium time, when the rate of forward reaction becomes equal to the rate of backward reactions, so let's say a certain amount of this is dissociated, okay, so the concentration left is C minus C alpha, right? So what is dissociated over here will be formed over here, so this will be C alpha and C alpha, okay. What is going to be the equilibrium constant? K, that is going to be the concentration of the products upon the concentration of the reactants. Okay? So concentration of the products, that is going to be C alpha into C alpha upon, we'll take C as common, 1 minus alpha. Okay? So over here C and C gets cancelled out, so K would be equal to C alpha square upon 1 minus alpha. This is the value of K over here. When we are talking of the value of K and we are taking it as a weak electrolyte, right? So if a weak electrolyte is taken, alpha would be very, very less as compared to 1, such that the denominator can be ignored over here because the value of alpha is very, very less. So K for weak electrolytes becomes equal to C alpha square, or the degree of dissociation alpha would be equal to K upon C ka under root. Okay, this is the degree of dissociation. Got it? We have already done degree of ionization over here. So let's just do a few questions regarding this section. Okay, the first question is 1.0 normal solution of salt surrounding two platinum electrodes 2.1 centimeter apart and 4.2 square centimeter in area was found to offer a resistance of 50 ohms. Calculate the equivalent conductivity. Okay, we have to calculate the equivalent conductivity over here. Given to us is, first of all, let's calculate what? We will calculate the specific conductance kappa, right? We know that kappa is equal to what? G star upon R, right? The value of G star will be equal to L upon A into 1 upon R. This will be the expression now. The value of L given to us is 2.1 centimeter and the value of A given to us is 4.2 centimeter and the value of R given to us is this, right? So kappa, that becomes equal to how much? 0.01, okay, and that is Siemens per centimeter. This is the unit. Now what is equivalent conductivity? Equivalent conductivity, that is given as kappa into 1000 upon normality of the solution. right? What have they given? Calculate the equivalent conductance for one normal solution they have given to us. So the value of kappa over here is going to be 0.01 into 1000 upon 1. So what is going to be equivalent conductivity? It is going to be 10. 10, right? And the unit is going to be Siemens centimeter square per gram equivalent. Okay, have you understood? This is how you were supposed to do this question. Let's go to question number 2. Question number 2 is the specific conductivity of 0.02 molar KCl solution at 25 degree is 2.768 into 10 raised to power minus 3. Kappa is given to us in this question. Polarity is also given. The resistance of this solution at 25 degrees centigrade when measured with a particular cell was 250.2 ohms. This is the resistance given. The resistance of 0.01 molar copper sulfate solution at 25 degrees measured with the same cell was 8331. Calculate the molar conductivity. Now in this case we do the question in 2 steps. In the first step we need to calculate G star. That is the cell constant. Okay. So first step we will use our formula RK, that is equal to G star. The resistance given to us in the first thing is how much? 25 is 250.2 ohms. So 250.2 into kappa. Kappa given to us is how much? The specific conductivity is 2.768 into 10 raised to power minus 3. That is going to be equal to G star. Okay. Then in the second part, what you can do over here is we calculate the specific conductivity for the second cell. Again, we will use the same formula RK, that is equal to G star. The value of R given to us in the second cell is 8331. Kappa we have to calculate. Let's put the value of G star 250.2 into 2.768 into 10 raised to power minus 3. So kappa will become equal to 250.2 into 2.768 into 10 raised to power minus 3 upon 8331, right? So kappa when calculated over here, that is coming to this. Now we have to calculate in the third step molar conductivity. Please don't waste your time doing these calculations because we really don't require them. We will take this in the final calculation and once and for all do the entire calculation together. Okay? So lambda m over here, that is going to be equal to kappa into 1000 upon molarity. Molarity for the second cell is given 0.01. So let's put the value of kappa. Lambda m, that is equal to 250.2 into 2.768 into 10 raised to power minus 3 upon 8331 into 0.01 into 1000. Okay, so we calculate molar conductivity over here, which comes to 8.312 Siemens centimeter square per mole. Is it clear? So this is how you're supposed to do questions like this, in which we have been given the kappa for one, we have to calculate the kappa for the second, and then we calculate the molar conductivity. Okay, let's go to question number 3. The equivalent conductance of sodium chloride, hydrochloric acid and sodium acetate at infinite dilution are 126.45, 426.16 and 91.0 0. Calculate the equivalent conductance of acetic acid at infinite dilution. Now over here, we have been given how many this thing? We have been given NaCl. Okay, and the molar conductivity of NaCl given to us in the question is how much? 126.45. So lambda of NaCl 126.45. Okay, then the next one given to us is hydrochloric acid, which is HCl, and lambda for HCl given to us in the question is 426.16. 426.16, and they have given us sodium acetate. Lambda for sodium acetate given to us is 91. And we have to calculate lambda for acetic acid, right? For such questions, you can use a trick over here that you add the data with common ions and subtract the data with uncommon ions. Okay, so when we're looking at NaCl and HCl, the common ion in this is chlorine, right? If we're looking at HCl and CH3COONA, there is no common ion between these two. So we add the data of the common ions, we add this and this, right? So what are we saying? That lambda of CH3COOH, that is equal to lambda of HCl minus lambda of NaCl plus lambda of CH3COONA. Okay, lambda for HCl given to us is 426.16. Lambda for NaCl given to us is 126.45, and for sodium acetate is 91, right? So when you calculate this, the answer comes to 390.7. 390.7 Siemens centimeter square per mole. Got it? Then let's go on to question number 4. Question number 4 is the decinormal solution of NaCl has specific conductivity equal to 0.0092 if ionic conductance of Na positive and Cl negative ions at the same temperature are 43 and 65. Calculate the degree of dissociation. Right? Now we know that degree of dissociation, that is equal to lambda C upon lambda infinity. Okay? So lambda C we will calculate first. Lambda C is equal to kappa into 1000 upon normality. Kappa given to us in the question is how much? 0.0092. Into 1000 upon normality is decinormal. So decinormal means 1 by 10 or 0.1. Okay? So this 10 goes there. Answer will be 0.0092 into 10 raised to power 4. So what is the concentration which is coming over here? 92. Sorry, lambda C is coming 92. Then we have to calculate lambda infinity. For lambda infinity, the data given to us is how much? Na positive is 43 and Cl negative is 65. So lambda for NaCl, that will be equal to 43 plus 65, which comes to 108. Okay, so we calculate alpha over here, which is lambda C is equal to 92 and lambda naught, that is equal to 108, and the answer comes to 0.85. So the degree of dissociation is 0.85 or 85%. Got it? Then the last question. What is the last question? At 18 degrees Celsius, the conductivities at infinite dilution of NH4Cl, NaOH and NaCl are 129.8, 217 and 108.9 more respectively. If the equivalent conductivity of N by 100 solution of NH4OH is 93, calculate the degree of dissociation. Okay? So again, the same formula will be applied over here. First of all, we have to calculate the lambda for ammonium hydroxide. Okay? So, alpha is going to be lambda C for lambda naught. Let's calculate lambda naught first over here. For that, they have given us the data of NH4Cl, which is given as 129.8. Okay? Second, they have given us NaOH, which is given as 270.4. And then they have given us lambda for NaCl, which is 108.9. So we need to calculate lambda for NH4OH at infinite dilution. Okay, so you again add the ones which have no common ions and subtract this one from it. So we will have 217.4 minus 129.8 plus 108.9. Got it? The lambda over here, that is coming to 238.3. Siemens centimeter square per mole. Then in the second, what we have to do is, if the equivalent conductivity of N by 100 solution is 93, they have already given you 9.93. So lambda at C is given to us at 9.93. So let's put in the values. 9.93 divided by 238.3. When this is calculated, it is coming to 0.04. 0.04167. ठीक है? So कितनी % dissociate हो रहा है ये? Only 0.04%. Therefore, ammonium hydroxide is going to be a weak base. It's a weak electrolyte. Okay? So today we will do only till here.